Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Fear the Walking Dead review for Season 4, Episode 3. Episode is titled Good Out Here. Also, on a side note, happy National Star Wars Day. I am Darth Negan. I have Lucille on one hand and a red lightsaber in the other. It was actually red, but batteries didn't. It died, and for the life of me, I have not had any reason to really get them replaced, but I thought it was something cool that I just found last minute in my room. So anyway, I could also picture Negan having a lightsaber, but also carrying Lucille as well, or having a combined Lucille lightsaber type situation going on there. So I know there's like memes and stuff to do with that. You know, a lot of things are like that are popular around now. Everybody's talking Star Wars, watching the movies, things like that. And I just, I wanted to sort of tie that into my review somehow. So there's that prop. I'll keep that there so I can go over my review. But may the fourth be with you. Anybody who's also a Star Wars fan like I am will appreciate that. Now, out of the Star Wars nerd moment into Fear the Walking Dead, we have it was a good episode. It was on par with what we've seen so far. There's still a budding story in the season. We're still doing the back and forth between past and present. Now, this one was a little bit more 50-50 split between past and present as opposed to the first two, which the first one was almost entirely the first one was entirely in the present. The second one was entirely in the past except for that last scene. This one, episode 3, it's more of a 50-50 split. It does go back and forth, and I like the distinguishing coloration. You can tell that the present is the more of a grayish black and white, and the past is color. Which in the past with The Walking Dead, they've done it the reverse. I've mentioned this before, but the past was gray, black, and white, and the present was in color. Now, that could be any number of reasons. They might want to maximize. They're probably going to want to do a lot in the past to catch them up to events in the present. So they might be showing more of those, and they might want to show whatever one is more there's more of in color. That could be it, or it could just be that's just the way it works out. But I think that's probably the reason. I thought about it actually a little bit upon the realization that it was a little reverse from how The Walking Dead did it. So I'm going to use the terms past and present. The show did then and now, which The Walking Dead did. They did that with the Terminus cannibals, the hunters. They did then and now. I'm going to stick with the terms past and present. I will mention those during the review, so you know what Nick I'm talking about, what Alicia I'm talking about, etc. And no, we still have not seen Madison in the present. She has not been seen. Do I think they killed her off? That's going to be a tough one, and I'll save that topic for the end of this video. I'll touch on that a little bit. But just going over this episode, I'm going to be as linear as possible, as I always try to be, but I might bounce around a little bit if I think of something. I've actually seen the episode twice now, so I've had plenty of viewing opportunities, and it's fresh in my head, so here it goes. So in the past, the fresh off the arrival of the vultures, fresh off realizing that how to get rid of the weevils, and they're basically just cleaning out the garden, cleaning out the crops, burning, cutting everything down. Not a whole lot's going on there. We still have Mel's out there. We have Nick and Madison are going out on a run. Mel gives them the book back. He's very passive aggressive. That's probably the best word to describe Mel and these vultures. They're they're, for lack of a better term, I should say, they're passive aggressive. They're not really doing anything aggressive, but their presence there, what they're doing, they're looting all the surrounding communities. They're basically laying siege, but they're not making it seem like they're laying siege. So, yeah, they're basically very passive aggressive. You know, they come across like they're doing the service of helping out, clear out the dead. You know, kind of like what the Saviors did, but without all the killing. But they are directly inconveniencing our group and are planning on waiting for them to die and then taking all their stuff. What animal does that? Vulture. They don't kill, they wait for something to die on its own and then eat it. Similar to a Komodo dragon, actually. I'm not going to get into animals, but they do a similar. They have a similar tactic. Their saliva is poisonous. They bite something, and then they wait for it to die, and then they go and eat it. Anyway, enough about vultures and Komodo dragons. So they go out. Mel gives his little speech. So, oh, I'm glad to see you out about Nick, and blah, 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 blah. So Nick and Madison go out. Nick's having to keep going, coming out here. Nick's obviously still a little shaken up, a little traumatized from the dam incident. But Madison says, oh, it's about finding something good. You know, there's still good out here. So that's what the good out here in the title means. It's Madison saying good out here. So, okay, switching over to the present, we have a continuation of episode 2. No, episode 1 and... Yeah, episode 1 and 2 directly after being taken captive by Alicia and crew. They're all on board the SWAT vehicle. They're talking. Al's trying to get them to talk. They're not. Nick's not talking. She got out of the zip tie and has Nick hostage, for lack of a better term. Nick breaks free, bumps into Luciana. They crash down a hill, and the walkers are descending upon them. And so when we next see them, they're all zip tied. Nick's knocked out, well, knocked down, whatever. And they talk and basically decide that they're going to, there's an act of faith. Strand's like a deal, a negotiation requires an act of faith. So they cut them loose, and then they go. Everybody but Morgan and Nick go and look for a truck that Luciana saw that could help them get the SWAT truck out. Morgan has Nick zip tied to the truck and is basically gonna keep watch. I didn't write this down. This actually slipped my mind a little bit, but the group that goes to try finding the truck, Luciana, Strand, Alicia, Al, and John, they're talking. Al's giving more about her spiel, the truth, that the truth matters. As long as somebody's there to hear it. And then they're still in negotiation. And they get the truck. They do get the truck back there, but before that, I want to go over. I love the whole scene with Nick asking for a snack from his bag. Morgan cuts him loose so he can go get it himself, and Nick's, "Aren't you worried that I'm gonna?" And then Morgan just starts beating him with a stick, and trips him. Just like, "I'm not worried." I saw that. I was laughing about it in the predictions, and it was hilarious seeing it in the context of the episode. So Nick goes, he gets a snack, and ordinarily I wouldn't be reviewing the snack that Nick is eating, but this snack has a particular interest association with Morgan. It's a peanut butter protein bar. Where have we seen that before? Michonne took it from Morgan, and then he so elegantly brought it back later on in the series, asking if it was her that took it. And she said no. So everything gets a return. Speaking of a Walking Dead quote that had to do with Morgan, not to do with him, but it was spoken to him by the wolves. So Morgan goes to the road, and he sees the El Camino coming. He scrambles down, hides in the truck with Nick. And what does Nick do as soon as he sees the El Camino ride by? He starts fighting Morgan. Like, they're not them. They have nothing to do with them. Like, I mean, he saw an opportunity and he took it. And he just keeps going. He doesn't throw Morgan's stick down to him, so Morgan's left to fight the walkers by himself. Okay, now hold on. So Nick fled and gets surrounded, gets pinned by walkers. He takes down two of them. There's still one on top of him. Morgan saves him. So Morgan just went all, psycho killer Morgan on the infected, and was somehow able to limp over to where Nick was, and Nick was running. So either Nick was there for a really long time before those walkers showed up, or Morgan flew over there. So that's the little thing that didn't totally make sense, but not super important. Okay, back in the past, I almost said present, back in the past, Nick and Madison encounter, I don't know how to say this guy's name, I don't know how to spell his name, I'm not even going to try. I believe his name is Enos, whatever, I think it's Mel's brother, the dude driving the El Camino, which, side note, is a pretty sweet car. It's like a car fused with a truck. It's pretty sick. And they're at a church. They raided the food pantry that, ever so coincidentally, was the same one that Madison and Nick were going to look at. And, search for supplies. Ennis, I'm just gonna call him Ennis, whatever, taunts Nick. Nick puts a knife to his throat, and then they leave. Now back to Nick and Morgan in the present. They're walking, they're talking about loss, and Nick's asking about Morgan, what he's lost. After watching the tape that Al recorded, I lose people and then I lose myself. Nick's, I just lay off the karate. And then Morgan's like, it's not karate. He doesn't say what it is. It is, in fact, if you remember, Aikido, taught to him by, his buddy Eastman, who he does reference in this episode. I like that little reference to Eastman. I like all the little Walking Dead references in this episode particularly. Okay, so as this is happening, the infected have obviously swarmed around the truck from the horn that was sounding when Nick and Morgan were fighting. Alicia and crew, basically everybody but Morgan and Nick, they strike a deal. This is Strand's and theirs act of faith. They're gonna help Al's truck out, come up with a plan, and then Al takes them to where they found the flag and helps them to take care of the vultures. Also in exchange for them answering Al's questions, they agree. They help take out some of the walkers. Alicia goes, attaches the cable to the SWAT truck, and they pull it up. Hey, Nick and Morgan encounter our good buddy Ennis by silos, I think. Yeah, silos. Looks like could be a storage area or something. He's got a nice El Camino hanging out there. Morgan initially tries to stop Nick from going after him, but eventually relents and leaves. Nick fights with Ennis, and then Nick kills him, impales him on a deer, probably nothing like a moose, deer moose antlers, stuffed deer moose, whatever. And Nick just brutally it's not enough that he's fell on it, he just pushes him down on it and doesn't kill him after, just kills him and lets him turn. Okay, Morgan actually went and walked back to where Nick was, sees that he killed Ennis, and then he tells Nick what happened to him. He lost his wife, his son, his friends, followed by himself. Morgan gives Nick the Art of Peace book that he was reading, that I believe, was given to him by Eastman, trying to convince him that, it's not too late to come back from where he is. He's been there. Eastman brought him back from that place, so there's that. So as Nick is reading it, he has a flower, he's sitting down reading the book. There's a gunshot. Charlie, that little, shoots Nick and kills him. So that happened. Everybody else gets there, they're trying to save him. And another Al's tapes Locke came loose in the Nick and Morgan scuffle. I wanted to make sure their tapes were not disturbed. Wherever these tapes are, the bog with numbers on it. The flowers. There's a theme of those blue bonnet flowers. Nick and Madison find them. Nick's laying in them amongst them in the past. Nick finds them in the present, has one in his pocket. They're shown in the intro. It's interesting and it's a little detailed, but I like it. The intro credits are not the same each week. It's not like in The Walking Dead where it's the same thing each week, pretty much, barring additional or less cast members listed. This one is whatever the theme, I guess, something that's important in the episode. This one was the Bluebonnet Flowers. Now, this episode, it was a tough one. I was not expecting to lose Nick at all. I was not really expecting to lose anybody in this episode. I thought maybe episode 4 or 5 we'd get the character death, but yeah, but look, Nick was there since the first episode. He's one of the few ones still remaining. See, Madison, we have no idea if she's still alive in the present timeline. Strand's still around, and Alicia's still around. That's it for the original crew. I mean, Salazar could pop up out of nowhere again, come back from the dead for the second time, but he has not been spotted in the past or present storylines at this point. That doesn't mean anything. I'm still waiting to see what the heck is going on with Proctor John from season 3. I'm still waiting for that. Maybe we'll see Salazar again at some point. I hope so. I don't like when these shows do things like that and kill a character off screen. Even no matter how implied it is, if we don't see it, it's not definite. So it was a big surprise killing Nick off. The actor Frank Delane did ask to be killed off since at some point around season 3. So I get it, he wants to pursue other things. I'm not going to knock him for that. I guess it's eerily similar to Carl, except Carl wanted to take a year off of school, but this is a big blow to the show. I really thought Nick had a lot of story to tell this season, and he still does. He's still going to be alive in the past parts of the show, of the season, so however long they continue splitting past and present, he will still be there, and I really hope they'll bridge it. I'm sure they'll show us what happened to Madison, what really made Nick hate these people to the point of killing Ennis. And not even mercying him, just letting him turn. I know he lets him turn because of the promo shows him as a walker in next week's episode. So, this episode was a little bit of a mixed bag for me. I wasn't super thrilled with losing Nick. I really thought he had more story to tell, but he still does have more story to tell, just not in the present storyline. Anything else I want to go over real quickly? I also thought Nick was going to end up maybe helping Charlie out and getting her to leave the Vultures and come with them. But that's not going to befall him, I guess. And in the present, she's still with them. She killed Nick because he killed Ennis. Please no. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I really doesn't matter at all right now, honestly. Okay, top 5 moments. 5 is the SWAT truck crashing, and then Luciana, Nick, and Strand and Alicia being held captive. Tables were turned on them. 4 is Nick and Madison encounter Enos and Charlie at a church. 3 is Alicia, Strand, and Al getting the truck out from the SWAT truck pulled up. 2, Nick's death, and 1, Nick killing Ennis. I kind of flip-flopped. I was originally going to make Nick's death the first, my number 1 moment, but I don't know. I just felt it was a little too soon. They could have always denied it and said, finish out the season, etc., etc., but that did not happen, so Nick went out. I still think it's premature, which is why I give this episode a 9.5. I just felt like the Nick situation could have and should have been handled a little bit better, and I wanted to see more in the current storyline for him. And my Walker Kill of the week is I'm assuming Morgan did have to fight through several of those walkers. Whether he killed them all or not, I don't know. But it's Morgan without his stick, climbing up a hill, limping, walkers coming down at him. So that's, however he got out of that, good on him. But that's my Walker Kill / kills of the week. But, I'm not upset about this episode. I do think that we could be losing another series, the main cast member at some point, unless evidence shows that Madison is alive in the present. But until we see that concrete evidence, we're in limbo here with that. So that's going to be it for this video. I will be back at you with the predictions in just a moment. But hope everybody enjoyed this past episode. Hope everybody had a great week. Peace out, deuces, and may the force be with you. Always.